Hey guys, Roy here with Radiant Clean. Today we're doing a house washing in Tampa. We've gotten some questions about our house washing process, so I just want to walk you guys through it real quick. So typically for a house wash, we're going to do it downstream. So we're using the actual pressure washing system, even though it's not high pressure. So what we do is called downstreaming. So we're using an 8-gallon a minute pressure washer. And we downstream that, so we switch on this box up here that allows us to use a remote control to choose whether there's bleach, so sodium hypochlorite getting mixed in, and we've got the downstream turned on, so that'll mix it. And then I have a remote control that adjusts this box right here that'll switch between having bleach in the water or having just a rinse. So we'll treat it with bleach first, treat the house with bleach, spray that down, and then rinse it off afterward, and that'll kill all the organics and that kind of stuff, get rid of the mold, mildew, and those kind of things. The mix in this, because it's downstream, is about 1.5% sodium hypochlorite to water, so it's a rather weak solution. It doesn't kill a lot of plants, that kind of stuff. It's what we use on screen enclosures, it's what we use on houses. For tougher stains, we use our soft wash system, so it's a different hose and it uses a different pump. So instead of the high pressure, lots of water rinsing, we use our mix system, which is our soft wash system. It works off a 12-volt pump, and then we can use we can adjust the chemical mix, so we can adjust bleach, soap, water, and that kind of stuff, so we can actually get what we would call a hotter mix into the water to get those really stubborn algae, mildew, that kind of stuff. So that is how that's set up. So we're just doing a quick house wash for this house today. Doesn't look very bad from what I can see so far, but we're going to do a walk around, and we're also going to do some protection. So what I mean by that, property protection, is we actually cover things like outlets, cameras, Ring doorbells, those kind of things, anything that we don't want the bleach to get into. So a lot of the outdoor outlets are fine, they have the weatherproofing on them, but we're going to go around, cover up, keyholes in the doors, that kind of stuff. So I'm going to go do that, do a walk around, and we'll be right back with you. Alright, so we're taking a look at the house, just doing the pre-inspection, making sure there's no damage that we need to be aware of. This looks not too bad. There's not a lot of mold. Looks like a little tiger striping and oxidation on the gutters. We'll see what we can do with that. A lot of spider webs, that kind of stuff. But you can see we put tape on the locks and over some of the outlets just to make sure that those don't get bleach in them. Put a bag over the outlet there. Do see some mildew on the gutters, but I'm not seeing any open windows, which is good. So those gutters are gonna need a little attention. We'll see about those. There are some pre-existing cracks in the cement and the stucco that we'll need to avoid. Make sure they're aware of those. We got our water filling right now. Doesn't seem to be too much going on over here. Covered up the door locks and the outlet. No more open windows or anything. Got, again, some of that mildew on the gutters. Some spider webs. Not too bad. So no more outlets over here. So we'll get our water filled up and get this going. It shouldn't take too long. It's not in too bad a shape. And we got brand new fresh bleach, sodium hypochlorite. We filled that up yesterday. We've got about 100 gallons on the truck, so it'll be nice and strong and fresh. You can see the tank right there. So we'll get this going and be back to you in a minute. Alright, we're going to start spraying this down with a mix of sodium hypochlorite. Gotta get it running, get the chemical mixture in. Alright, now I smell it, we're good to go. We didn't talk to them about doing the patio, but we're going to do that anyway since it's really small. Alright, and then after we spray it, you'll see we let it sit for a little bit and call it dwelling. Letting that sit will help the bleach kill those organics and get to work a little bit. We don't want to leave it on too long because we don't want it to dry. And if it dries, it can oxidize the paint, which we don't want that. We just want it to kill the organics. So. Unfortunately, I can't reach those cameras to tape them up, but should be okay. Alright, we're going to let that sit on this side, go around to the other side, and we'll hit this. Here where there must have been some patches done on the stucco. As soon as they got wet, they turned a different color. So that was not a must. We always have to be careful on the undersides of these porches here in the Tampa area because that is usually drywall. It's not actually stucco, so we have to be careful not to get too wet. So it's a trade-off trying to get it clean and trying not to get it wet. Alright, so now we got the first layer of SH on the house. We'll go back and touch up little spots that I think are going to need it. And then we're going to rinse. Alright, I'm going to let that dwell for a minute. I'm going to switch over to rinse. This is so handy, that way I don't have to walk back to the truck every time I want to start rinsing. So, just let that hang out for a minute more. Just let the chemical do their work. We're going to rinse it down, and we'll walk through the end result. Be back in a bit. Alright guys, we got it all rinsed down. Some of the grass is actually painted into the side, but there's still some tire striping on the gutters, but that does not come off with a normal pressure washing. I'm going to come back and hit this side real quick because it must have sprayed out from inside. That does not come off with the normal pressure washing, so we will just come in and take our protection stuff off. Pieces of tape to take off. Take this. Tape over here, but you can see it's got the organics off, but there's still some of that tiger striping. Got a lot of the cobwebs and stuff like that off, but I'm gonna go hit that one side real quick just to make sure we got all the grass that got sprayed up on it off. I'm gonna roll up our hoses and head off to the next job. So we'll see you then, guys. Alright guys, we're on to our next job of the day. We're doing just the front side of this house where somebody else attempted to wash it and it didn't come off real good. And then we're going to do the roof. So let's do a quick walk around before I do some protection work. But do the front side here. You can see it by the soffits and stuff like that. It's still pretty dirty. I'm not sure if that's just mildew or if it's oxidation. Looks like some of it might be mildew, but we'll see what we can get off from just downstreaming it. We'll try downstreaming it first, and then since we're going to be doing this little roof area just on the garage, we'll do that. But you can see where somebody tried to pressure wash it, and so they took off little sections, but not down here. They got some of the algae off in strips, but not all of it. So looks like kind of a amateur job. So let's just make sure there's no damage. This is damaged here, so I'm going to put some tape over that so water doesn't get into it as much. Not really stopping it, but we've got some mildew up there on the windows. Some of this might take a little hotter mix. So since we're doing the roof anyway, we'll just hit that. And you can see this part of the roof was pretty dirty. I'm probably just gonna hit this from the ground rather than dragging the ladder out. Looks like somebody actually tried to do something with it. So there's some damaged areas here we'll need to cover. And then we'll have to bag these gutters. One goes into the ground. Check that out. And then this one comes out over here. I think those are the only two gutters for this section. So we'll do some protection, get those gutters bagged up, and wait for the water to fill up, and we'll start washing this. Be back in a minute. Alright, so we got the protection on. Wasn't very much. Got to put some bags in the gutters. You can see. We're going to downstream this first, see what we can get with just the regular SH. If not, they're not home, so hopefully we don't get the car too wet. But start doing this wash down. Since I'm going to be doing the roof over here, I'm going to give these guys a good rinse, soaking. Around this way so it doesn't keep getting caught on these bushes. Alright, I'm going to switch over to SH and start cleaning. starting to take off some of that staining up there already. Get a couple more minutes to as well. I'm gonna try hitting it with the soft wash. But we'll go ahead and rinse that off, and I'm gonna start on the roof. Keep the pressure washer running so I can spray down while I'm doing it, since I'm just working solo today. Usually we have another person to spray down while we're doing the roof, but this is just the first story and it's very small, so I think it's manageable. So we're gonna start rinsing, see where we go next. Alright guys, since this roof is so small, we're just going to hit it from the ground. So, you can see it's already cleaning it up. Just going to use our soft wash system here to screw it up there. Really wasn't even worth dragging the ladder off to do it. That off here in a minute. We're using about a 5% solution on this one because the roof is pretty dirty. So you can see it's lightening up already. Bring around the front. Already wet down the plants and stuff, so. Wet them down again once we're down here. today. I'm trying to wind a little bit, but if it was a windy day, I'd probably get up there. You see how hot it is. It's already steaming up there. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but bleach is steaming right off. We've got a decent amount of surfactant mixed in with this too, just so it sticks a little bit better, kind of dwells up there a little bit longer. Now we don't usually rinse our roofs off. Might, you know, with metal or something like that, but we usually leave it up there to dwell and let the sun continue to activate it. Continues to kill the organics. And then when it rains, it takes off any of that leftover organic material, the mildew, the algae, moss. These folks look like their main roof needs to be cleaned too. I'm not sure why they aren't having us do that, but we will definitely mention that to them and see if they want us to come back. Alright. Make sure I got everything. Bleachy. Smelling bleachy. You know, we've tried a number of different surfactants that have the different smells, and I don't know if it's just me, but I've never noticed it really covering the smell of the bleach. So some people swear by them because it makes it smell better, but I have not really experienced it on a job when we're actually spraying, you know, like a roof or something. I've never seen that. Maybe it's just me, maybe it's the products we're using, I'm not sure, but it seems to be never strong enough. I'm gonna hit this house with this because it's like, you know, the sections aren't coming off. I'll have to rinse that down real good. That dwell in there a little bit. Oh, shit. I think some of that staining up there is just damage to the paint. It's like oxidation. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can hit it from here. if we can. I'll rinse this off so it doesn't, because this is a stronger mix. That's probably pretty good. Now let's rinse the stuff off. Alright guys, well my camera crapped out right after that, so I did get some pictures of the before and after though, so you can see here the mold and mildew and algae and stuff on the trim, and using that hotter mix really helped get that off. We got a lot of it off with just the downstreaming, but getting that little extra mix of bleach in there sure did help. And then we're gonna go to the roof here in just a second. I'll show you this. And night and day, that was a really dirty roof, so that cleaned it up really nicely. And what I didn't show either is we did spray the surrounding plants with some bleach neutralizer. We typically do that with our roofing jobs now. So not only do we wet the area, but we use neutralizer that we then rinse off. So thanks for joining us, guys. Another successful cleaning job here with Radiant Clean, and we will talk to you later. Oh, and by the way, leave comments if you have any questions or anything. We'd love to see those comments coming in from you folks. Have a great one. Bye-bye.